Hi, everyone. I'm Jane Clark with Brandswan, and today we are here with Nataki Oliver, who is the owner of the Sold Firm Art Gallery. I'm really excited about this one for a lot of reasons, not just because it's art, but just the impact it has on the community. And so, Nataki, tell me a little bit about how you started this and why.
I moved to New York in the mid 2000s to attend design school, FIT. And once I got to New York, it wasn't an option to be engulfed in art. But once I did it, my whole train of thought changed. I had a roommate who was assistant curator at the Met or MoMA, one of those. So me and her had a lot of in-depth conversations, and we were just from two different worlds. But I just didn't know these type of things existed coming from Wilmington, Delaware. So once the recession hit, I had to come back to Delaware. And when I came back, there was nobody would hire me with a background that had to do with fashion or art. So I had to lean more on my marketing side of my degree. And that got me far here in Wilmington. But what I knew is that it was a desert here as far as art, design, fashion, all that type of stuff. I started gravitating more towards art on my own. I started actually on Instagram. I would see an art piece, and then I would see some type of fashion reference that was similar, and I would compare the two and talk about those on Instagram. People started gravitating to it, and interest was building. And then I realized, okay, what is this going to look like for me as I come older? And so I decided that in my mind, when I retired, I'm going to be an art dealer. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to see all the art I want to see. I am going to have a list of clientele. And I just had all these things in my mind. So I literally started manifesting it out, just probably, I think, in like 2017. The more I started putting those things into the atmosphere and on Instagram, people started gravitating to it, and they started contacting me. And they started asking me for advice and art advice and pricing advice. And because I had been studying it, now I could answer those questions. So I started managing an artist here. And then another artist reached out to me and asked me to curate his first exhibit. When the artist started telling me, we would have conversations about like, what is their goal? What do they want to do? And a lot of them wanted to be in places and institutions that they weren't able to get into here in Delaware.
Yeah.
And so I took a gamble. I was like, okay, let me test and see if this is really real. I started asking questions. I actually wrote some proposals for exhibits that artists wanted to be in. I helped them. And then I started volunteering at some places here. And what I realized, they were telling the truth. There was not any inclusion here when it came to artists here in Wilmington. Mm-hmm. And I was upset. From that, I said, I will create my own space that is going to be built around inclusion. It's still going to be, I'm still very particular about who I choose. But even if I don't choose an artist, I still help them. Right. And give them advice and direction. That's how it got started. It was me deciding that there's no space here for the artists that we have. And I need to create that environment for them to feel like they can be creative. There's no limits to what you can do in here. Yeah. But that's how the Soul Firm came to be.
Yeah, I mean, what really touched me was the fact that you also do free like painting classes for youth.
Yes. That was pre-COVID, 2019. A lot of killings happened in Wilmington. I always wanted to do something with youth and a way to give back. So in that time, there had been, I think, 3 killings like within days. I needed to do something that could kind of ease the parents and the kids at that time, the young ones. So I just like on Instagram, Facebook was like, hey, this is what I want to do. If anybody wants to donate time, supplies, whatever. And people were just like, yeah, we want to do it. I had four paint sessions between October and December of 2019. And in 2020, I ran like my first t-shirts merchandise for the Soul Firm, and proceeds from that, I was able to buy 2 kids complete art kits, like the easels and the paints and the brushes and everything. And I was able to pay an artist to give those 2 children private lessons also. So I'm always trying to find a way.
And kind of going back to what you said about how hard it is to get into the more prominent museums and galleries, is that still true today?
Yes, I would say so. It's a little, I will say it's a little more, they're a little bit more receptive than they were when I first started. Just speaking to a couple different people in both of the main institutions, which is the Delaware Art Museum and the Contemporary. There has been a small door opening for artists. There's still work to be done though, for sure.
Yeah. Putting you on the spot here, but what do you think the next step is in order to kind of getting a bit closer?
The people who are in charge of these spaces have been in these places for a long time. And I don't necessarily believe that they have the background or the experience in some type of art culture that would happen in another place to bring that here. Like we have had situations where we've brought contractors from other states and other cities to do things here in the city of Wilmington to make it a better place, or, whatever the situation is, they seen a void and they brought them in. But there are people who have those type of positions in those areas that will sit there till they retire, and they are put in that position, but they necessarily don't have what it takes to bring it to the next level. That's what I feel like the issue is and what needs to happen to grow.
Like, what awesome thing can I do this month? Like, what's the next thing?
Yeah, so this year, I really had to take a step back, just kind of evaluate some things. I wanted to be more intentional about who the exhibits and how I formulated and curated what's going to happen. So I left some space open this year for a program that I was working on last year, the youth program. I partnered up with Newcastle County Libraries and the Route 9 Library, which is on Newcastle Avenue. We had this conversation, I think in 2020. And so it came back around last year where they wanted to have an art space in Route 9 Library for the teens to take some classes, right? When we came back to the table last year, these are the 2 things that have to be implemented. We have to make a way for these teens to get paid for their time. Because listening to what my son said in 2020, it makes sense to hold the attention. They want compensation for their time. So why don't we use this as an apprenticeship? Number 2, these kids are digital. We need to push them in the area of digital art as well. So let's make sure they get the foundation from drawing, the foundation of painting, and then it's a 12-week program. And then the last 4 weeks is digital art. At the end of this, they will be able to have an exhibit where they can have their family and friends come and people can come and buy their artwork. The artwork is 100% commissioned to the students. So 12 students will be chosen. We have over 40 applicants.
Oh, man. Okay, one last question for you. Sure. And that is, if you can go back in time and share one piece of advice with your younger self, what would it be?
I would absolutely say, whatever your gift is, don't let anybody talk you out of it. I could have gotten to this stage a little bit quicker, a little bit sooner. And I, it just comes with the time in the 80s. That could have been just it. You know what I'm saying? However, everybody's so engulfed with social media and all the influences that can happen. If you have a gift, whatever it is, don't let anybody tell you you should be a doctor.
Thank you so much, Nataki. This was an amazing interview. This is Nataki Oliver. Isn't she awesome?